Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Big Hit, and today we are going to be talking some college football. The college football playoff bracket has just been released. There's some controversy over it, but before we get into that, we're going to dive into the top four, maybe the guys that are left out too.
Yep. So it appears Go Blue Michigan, #1 team in the country. #2, the Huskies, Washington, they beat Oregon. And then #3 was Texas, which I agree with. I think they made it because good, but Big 12 champions up there. See Peyton up there, he's a fan.
Horns down.
Other than that, the debate is 4 and 5. So Alabama got #4 as an 11-1 team. They beat Georgia, who was #1 in the country. Yeah. Alabama coming into it was #8 in the country. And then the big hot debate right now is Florida State going undefeated, winning the ACC, a Power 5 conference, and they jump down to 5, so they get bumped out of the playoffs. There's a lot of hate towards the committee right now. And I'm kind of on the side where they should have got in because we've seen in the past TCU lost their conference championship. They made it in. Cincinnati went undefeated, a non-Power 5 school. They made it in. ACC school, I understand it's the ACC. It's not the best football. I understand their quarterback got out. But Florida State's defense, Danny, is one of the most elite in the country. And they won that. I mean, their offense, it might be subpar to many, but at the same time, when that defense could have maybe gave Michigan a chance to pull off one of the most unforgettable things of all time.
So here's what I'll say. I am personally on the side that I think Alabama should be in the college football playoffs. I'm happy they are in the college football playoffs. I think a lot of people, when we're watching the college football playoffs, are going to be glad that the Alabama Crimson Tide is in the playoffs instead of watching a Florida State team who put up 10 points against a poverty Louisville team. I'm not even kidding. I am not even kidding when I say this. That was one of the worst college football games I have ever watched in my life. And I've watched some bad college football games. I've watched some PSAC games where IUP is not even playing. And I'm telling you, they were more exciting than Florida State versus Louisville. That game was terrible. You can talk about defense, whatever. I'm pretty sure that some Division II schools would have scored more than 10 points on that team that night. So I am not going to take away Florida State's undefeated season. But what I will say is when you're saying that they deserve to be in the playoffs, I think that that's ridiculous. Looking at the fact that the committee has always preached that it's the best 4 teams make the playoffs, right? It's the best 4 teams. I don't think you can look at me in the eyes and say that that team that you watched against Louisville is a team that is better than Alabama, a team that's better than Texas. They're not better than Georgia. I don't think they're a top 10 team offensively. They're not beating a lot of teams. They're going to lose their bowl game. I'm not sure who they're playing, but
Georgia.
They're going to lose by 35 points if they're actually going to play Georgia. I just don't see where people are so upset. I mean, I get, they're undefeated, but listen, you're playing your third string quarterback. You're not going to win any playoff game. So let's just save it. Let's just save the loss and let's give the fans what they want to see. We want to see a good game. We don't want to see a team get blown out. Like TCU versus Georgia, that was one of the worst games in college football playoff history just because it was not exciting. I actually started building a Lego during that game because it was so bad.
I'll also add, though, with that TCU thing, TCU ended up beating Michigan in round 1. And Michigan was #2 team in the country. Sure. TCU pulled off one of the most biggest upsets of all time. That game was that TCU
really
Michigan game was one of the best college football playoff games we've ever seen. Yeah. And I understand they got whooped by Georgia, which they did. But I feel very bad for those Seminoles players just because I feel like their quarterback, Jordan Travis, is probably this is because of me because he got injured. Yeah, we saw after he got injured, they got bumped down 2 spots in the rankings. If it's just about the quarterback, I mean, we'll talk about this later, but should that mean he should win the Heisman? Because if that's that big of a debate, that the quarterback getting out, that's such an accurate thing to say because if you're saying the quarterback going out is the big problem, is he had that big of an impact on the team, he should probably win the Heisman. If his injury is so important to them not making the playoffs, he should be in the Heisman race just because of that impact.
So I'll ask you this. Joe Burrow, we'll go to the NFL real quick. Joe Burrow goes down. His season is over. Does that still make the Bengals a top 5 team?
No.
Not at all. So why should Florida State be a top 5 team, top 4 team, when they're not even on their second string quarterback, they're on their third string quarterback. You know what I mean? No one is saying that the Cincinnati Bengals should be in consideration for a Super Bowl. You look at the Vegas odds; they're towards the bottom. They're at the bottom of the list to win the Super Bowl, to even make the playoffs. And I think that's how you have to look at it from that perspective. Not, okay, yeah, they're 13-0. They played Louisville. It's ACC football. SEC. It's been said the SEC just means more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and not Louisville. Florida State has played ranked opponents before too.
They have.
They beat a ranked LSU team.
But
they
LSU
beat
also
SEC
was
opponents.
under 500 this year. LSU's under
Well,
500.
that was when
this year.
LSU was one of the top teams in the country
Okay.
at the time. I think they were a top 10 team at the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I just think it's wrong for an undefeated team that's a Power 5 conference like the ACC. And I understand Alabama is really, really good. Alabama, in my opinion, is only in this situation because of a miracle Hail Mary. They almost lost to Auburn. All their games have been close. And I think, like Florida State probably would have lost to Michigan in this situation, but I think it would have been a close game. I don't care about the quarterback situation. Their defense is very good. And I've seen how Michigan has played games this year. They don't start off too fast. They're a very sloppy team at the beginning. Florida State might have been able to give them a football game.
So Michigan played Iowa, right? We all saw that game.
Mm-hmm.
That was another tough one to watch just because of Iowa's offense. Iowa's offense or defense is ranked tremendously above Florida State, right? In defensive statistics, metrics, and all that such. So when Michigan is beating that team 27-0, and then you want the Florida State team, I think that Michigan beats Florida State. I think they put more points up on Florida State than they put on Iowa. Now, sure, I'm sure that Florida State would score some on Michigan, maybe 10 points, but I just don't see a reality where that game's even close. I don't see a reality where Florida State makes it a close game.
Now, I was going to say, like, I just think Alabama's very lucky to be in it. I think,
For sure.
I think it's also like SEC bias. Because whenever I was watching before that game, the commissioner of the SEC legit said, like, there's a situation Georgia and Alabama could both make it.
And they should have.
I don't agree with that. I think Texas, well, also the thing is, Texas beat Alabama already.
Texas did beat Alabama.
And then you have Michigan and Washington, both of those teams undefeated.
Yeah.
And Washington beat Oregon twice, and a ranked another Oregon State somewhere in there. They were ranked at the time.
Texas also lost to Oklahoma, and that's a bad loss. So you can't really sway that way because, sure, Alabama lost to Texas. That is the reason, that's the sole reason why Texas is 3 and Alabama's 4, because I guarantee you if Alabama, let's say, lost to another school, not Texas, Bama would be 3, Texas would be 4 in that scenario. That's the reason they did that. I'm pretty sure just because Bama did lose to Texas. That was a great game, a nail-biter. Alabama didn't come away with the win. I think that Texas should be in for sure.
I think this further proves how this year's college football playoff, like this is why this situation is changing to 12 teams. Yes. You have 3 undefeated teams. One of them did not make it. You have Michigan, Washington, and Florida State in the conversation. Alabama and Georgia, both with 1 loss. Georgia's first loss in 2 years happened in the SEC championship that bumped them off. And that's probably why Alabama made it in, because they knocked off a 2-time national champion that has won the last 2 and that's been undefeated. And I think it was like 29 straight wins before that. And then Ohio State was still in the conversation too. Ohio State had a situation where they could have made it if the teams that needed to lose could have lost. If Alabama,
Michigan had to have lost.
Yep, if Michigan lost, Alabama lost, which, I mean, Michigan probably was going to win that game no matter what. But if Iowa was able to pull something off crazy, if Oregon would have beat Washington, that would have helped Ohio State too, in my opinion. But this year just proved why they needed a bigger playoff picture. Like, you would have seen more teams. Like, you would have seen Missouri in this year's playoffs, Penn State in this year's playoffs, and this is just a race for, like, 11 and 12 seeds.
Yeah.
But it's going to be so interesting next year. But, like, I don't know. This Final Four was probably, it's funny, the most controversial Final Four, Danny, is the final year of this.
No more controversy after this because there's going to be a 12-team playoff, as you just said. And I'll say it right here. There should never be another debate over who gets in again, because if your team is not in the top 12, you don't deserve to be in the college football playoffs. You might not even deserve to get a bowl game
now, do
at
you
that point.
Do you think with the 12-team playoff, a Power 5 team who wins the conference should be an automatic bid?
So I do think so. I think the top 4 conferences, right? You look at like the SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12 or whatever now. you look at those, I think that the winner of their championship game should get an automatic, just kind of how it is in the NFL. You win the division, you automatically, you're in. I like that scenario. And then, say you lose, say like a team like Georgia loses, right? But they're the 1 seed, they should still get in, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
And I want to add this about the Jordan Travis situation, about backup QBs. Ohio State did that a couple years ago with Cardale Jones that came in. They put them in the playoffs, so it's kind of
second. He was a second string, though, not a third string.
Yeah. So like I don't know. It's just the whole idea of like backup QBs. Do they not deserve it? Does the team? I don't think the team deserves to be punished based off a quarterback.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. Let's say this kid comes in, puts up 55 points on Louisville, and they blow them out the water. Then it's a different story, right? If you're looking at this kid and you're going, wow, he can play football. He just blew our socks off. Then sure, let's have the debate. But there's 13 people on the college football committee, and I think it was a pretty easy decision for them to put Alabama in. Looking at what Florida State was, they have a third string quarterback in, and they're not going to put a team like that in who's barely going to beat a struggling Louisville team who just lost to an unranked Kentucky the week prior in the rivalry game against that game.
I'll add this too. If something crazy happens where Florida State pulls off the unthinkable against Georgia and somehow wins, or at least shuts down that offense, I think the committee could look very stupid and say, oh, maybe they were a good team. We just overlooked that whole quarterback situation. Because imagine, those Florida State players are going to be playing with a lot of heart against Georgia. They know. You saw their reaction. You saw their reaction. Their coach looked gutted. And that's one of the best coaches in all of college football. It's one of the most hype fan bases of all of college football. Like the whole city of Tallahassee was just like destroyed. They're like, what does it have to take? We went 12-0. We won a national well, not national, like ACC championship. That's a Power 5 conference. And then that happened. But like, it is what it is. They're going to move on. They're going to be ranked high next year, no matter win or lose against Georgia, because
they're going to get smacked by Georgia. I don't think that's going to be a close game.
You don't think it's going to be close?
I would be willing to put almost anything on the line that Georgia wins.
Now, who do you think they're going to rest a lot of players? Because I know Caleb Williams just announced he's not playing for USC. There's a bunch of NFL people not playing.
Florida State, I don't think they're going to sit anyone just because that game's going to mean a lot to them. But Georgia, it depends on who's eligible for the draft. Maybe Brock Bowers is going to sit this one out. You know what I mean? But you never know. Some guys just don't like to do that.
Other than that, Danny, do you have any final thoughts before we move on?
Roll Tide.
Go Blue. Okay, well, that's going to do it for our little debate here. Florida State versus Alabama. It's an ongoing thing. I think this is gonna be something everyone's gonna be talking about for years to come. No matter if Alabama gets whooped by Michigan somehow, it's not close. People are gonna be looking at this like Florida State should have maybe got a chance. But if it goes the other way, people are gonna be like, okay, then Alabama deserved it. But like both teams were deserving in their own way. Both teams had their own point of views. But it's gonna be interesting. So we are gonna move on to our predictions now.
All right, welcome back to the Big Hit. I'm Archie. We're doing college football predictions, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Okay.
Danny?
I guess I'm starting off.
Yep.
Okay.
What game are we starting with?
Well,
You want to do Washington versus the Texas first?
First
Yeah,
Texas,
let's
so
go
yeah,
with
that's
that.
the
Two
two
versus
seed
three.
versus the 3 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going with Texas.
Obviously.
I'm going
But-
with Texas too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Penix Jr. has been nice.
Yeah, he's good.
He's been solid. He's a Heisman front runner. He just beat Oregon and Bo Nix in a bloodbath game. They almost blew a big lead on Oregon, but Penix Jr. stepped up when necessary. He looks great. That whole team looks good. The receiving core is great. It's tough for me to take Texas. You know what? So I'm not. I'm gonna roll with Washington. I'm gonna change my pick. I think I'm gonna roll with Michael Penix Jr., the lefty.
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with Texas because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the Pac-12 has had much success in the football playoff. I mean,
In the football playoff this year, they've been debatably one of the best conferences.
They've been one of the best conferences, but in the past they haven't really had much success. And I just remember when Washington made it in a couple years ago, they kind of I'm pretty sure they got beat on in the first round. There's always that one team that makes it in. Like last year, I would have thought it was going to be TCU. Even though TCU did win, they eventually obviously lost to Georgia. But there's always that one team I feel like that makes it in. They're undefeated. They win their conference, and then they just get I don't think Washington's going to get destroyed, but I like Quinn Ewers or whatever.
Yeah.
his name
You could
is.
say that team is
He's
Notre
solid.
Dame every year.
Yeah. So,
Notre Dame's just like that.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers is official, so I'm rocking with the flow.
Quinn Ewers also made it official that he's going to be returning next year. So Arch Manning,
Is he
who
transferring?
just came up, I guess he's going to either have to take a red shirt, or I don't know if he did take a red shirt, but he's getting that's not fun for Arch Manning.
Yeah,
But
yeah, facts. Well, you need to play for 3 years to make it anyway. So, Archie, who do you think?
Who are the teams?
Texas or Washington?
Washington.
Texas.
Why?
I love Texas. It's a great state.
Anything else?
No.
Horns up or down?
Yeah. Horns up, right?
Yeah.
Horns down.
Yeah, horns up.
Horns
down.
up.
Nate, horns up or down?
I'm taking Texas.
Oh,
Horns
yeah.
up.
Yes.
This is why I like this is the year the Pac-12 is dying. I think they could go out with a bang and pull this off, but like if this is the year Pac-12 is going to win something, it could be this year just because the whole storylines. They won't be a conference anymore. It's becoming the Pac-2.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think a lot of people are hoping for Alabama versus Texas rematch.
Ooh.
Do I think it's going to happen? We'll get to that in a second, but I am going to take Texas in this situation. He's looking very good.
He is.
I saw his.
Ever since he shaved his mullet, he's
Do
been
you see
really
his
good.
Instagram story after?
No.
He's like, should
With
I
the
live,
WWE
should I, no,
championship
he was
belt?
like,
Oh,
WWE
yeah.
tells like, should I live stream Fortnite after this?
Yeah, he's
Dude
one of us.
is a vibe.
He's one of us.
But yeah, I am going to take Texas. I think it's close. I think it'd be a win by a field goal or maybe an overtime game.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. I think it has potential to be the best game this coming.
Two of the best
playoffs.
offenses in college
Yes.
football for sure.
And if Penix does win this, I think Washington could win it all. If whoever wins this has a case to win it all, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
We'll be in the championship.
So Texas is going to end the Pac-12 as we know it.
I think they could.
Wow.
It'd be very upsetting, but I mean,
Well, the Pac-12 is already ended anyway, so it's not
Yeah,
like it
like-
matters.
Well,
It's
no,
just
there's
a-
going to be 2 teams left in the
Just a-
Pac-12.
I think it's Arizona and Arizona
Why would they
State.
not leave, bro? Like they can
It's
just
their
make-
conference now.
they can
It's
just-
automatic. It's
Yeah.
automatic. You're going to the Pac-12
See, yeah, I was
championship
about to say.
automatically.
I saw
for
something
the
they're
Arizona
playing-
too.
Yeah, they're playing Mountain West Conference teams next year.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Oregon, Washington, and all those other teams are going to be tested in the Big Ten. That's going to be a
Yeah.
slaughterhouse.
fact.
And
And what
finally, the Big Ten has competition.
Michigan, Ohio State, and
It's
all
really
those
just
teams.
been
Penn
those-
State, they're going to have competition.
It's been Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State for the last 10 years. Wisconsin weirdly is good some years, but now we have teams like Oregon and them who are going to be coming in, and finally we're going to have another conference that can give us battles like the SEC does.
What about Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC?
They're
And
going
what
to-
about, we talk about this
Yeah.
realignment. Stanford and who else? Cal
Going to
the
ACC,
Atlantic
makes no
Coastal
sense.
Conference. What?
Yeah.
You have the Gulf of Mexico team and then
Yeah.
California team going to the Atlantic coast.
What do you think of that, Archie?
That's just crazy. That's crazy.
All right.
Yeah, well,
What about the
can't
other
believe
game?
you want to go Michigan versus, you
Who
want
do
to
you
start?
think? Let Archie start.
Archie, you want to start Michigan versus Bama? Who do you got?
Definitely Alabama. Yeah.
Why?
I'm not really a fan of Michigan. It's like kind of cold up there.
She's wearing blue.
Oh yeah. I'm not like a Raiders fan either.
All right.
Okay.
Nate.
Want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Go Blue. Michigan is going to the College Football National Championship. J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, I see that up there, Peyton. They are going to the championship. This is the year Michigan has to win it. It's been Michigan versus everybody all year. Sign signaling steals. I don't understand how you do that in football. It's like they hold up the signs all the time with all the little Disney characters like,
Well,
oh, don't
deeper than
steal
that,
my signs. They're holding up in the air. How are you not supposed to steal them?
Oh, you're not supposed to
yeah.
go tape them
Yeah.
three,
Not supposed
three
to-
games before.
See,
and
You're not
Michigan
supposed to-
versus everybody.
pretend
You're
to
not
be
supposed
on the
to have
sidelines.
People put
and-
fake
Yep.
mustaches on and pretend to be a fake coach.
Yeah, and
Michigan
throw their
versus everyone.
merch on. I
They've
mean,
won
what do-
3 in a
what do
row
you got?
against Ohio State. This is the year Michigan has to win it. This is the year they have been tested. If they don't win it this year, I think they might be done with the new Big Ten. This is a do or die year for Michigan.
Yeah,
This is
facts.
do or die for Ohio State too. All the Big Ten. Whoever makes it to the playoff has to win this year because
Yeah.
that window might be closing. They're going to be playing with urgency. And I think a lot of those players were hoping for Florida State because that would have been the easier matchup in
Yeah.
that situation. But seeing their reaction to Alabama, they looked shocked.
Yeah.
But I am going to take the Michigan Wolverines, winning this very close.
Can I just say, like, you guys were just talking about like FSU versus Bama. Like, I think the real loser here is Michigan. Because
That's a good
FSU,
point.
because like I think that as much as FSU can talk about not getting in, and who knows, they might have gotten blown out regardless. But I think Michigan is really the real loser in the situation because, I mean, they could still beat Alabama, but
Yeah.
if they play FSU, that's like they'd be what, like a 20-point favorite. Alabama,
Yeah.
they might even be an underdog.
I'll say this too. Michigan, honestly, in the situation, Alabama jumped from 8 to 4. The committee could have just said Georgia doesn't deserve to get bumped out entirely. They could have put Georgia at 4. So we could have had
It was
Georgia,
very
Michigan.
controversial.
Georgia is a way better team than Texas.
Yeah.
That's not debatable. I don't think anyone's
No.
going to debate that. So again, it's the debate: best 4 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, last segment. But all right, I'll go. I'll take Alabama. My favorite quarterback, Jalen Hurts, played for Alabama. So I think I'm going with Alabama. Plus, we don't like Michigan. We don't like John Harbaugh, whatever it is, Jacob Harbaugh. We don't mess with him. His brother's the ops. We from Pittsburgh, we're Alerts fans, so we don't mess with the Harbaughs. So we just want to see them crumble.
fair.
He cheated. He was stealing signs. He'd be robbing his grandma. Like he'd be taking money out of his grandma's wallet. So like we don't mess with the Harbaughs. So yeah, Harbaugh K, Bama on top.
This is tough for me to do.
Harbaugh be stealing money from his grandma, bro. How are you gonna pick him?
This
I
is-
know who you're
this,
picking.
This is tough for me to do, right? This is hard because, I mean, you just look at Michigan, man. They have
Quorum is official. I mess with him.
J.J. McCarthy. He's looking so good. Blake Corum is the best running back in college football. That offense is explosive. Their defense is great as well. Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in college football, so this is tough for me to do. But give me Alabama.
Okay,
I'm
Pat
not
McAfee.
straying away. Roll Tide. We're going to go with everything here. I don't care. The Tide is on top. No one stops Nick Saban. Jalen Milroe is unbelievable. He can run. The game against Georgia, they had 3 quarterback spies on him, and he was still tearing them up. So I just can't see how you don't go with the Tide. Straight up.
Go
Bama. Bama is the best team
Yeah.
in there. I don't care what you say. Sure, Michigan's ranked number 1. Bama's ranked number 1 in my heart. In the college football, I think they should be. They're going to win the championship. They're going to beat Michigan. And then I would love to see them play Texas again. I would love to see them play Texas again because they will smack Texas upside the head. I don't give. I don't care.
How many points did they lose to Texas by?
Bro,
Did they
Not
get beat
enough.
on?
No,
my
it was a close game.
favorite Alabama moment this year was when we were tied with USF 3-3 at halftime. I think it was. Yeah,
Okay,
they
but
gave
who won?
USF a good.
Who won the game?
They
the number
struggled
one-
to beat USF.
We have to give them credit for beating Georgia, though. Like, Georgia is the number 1 team. They
It's
haven't
the only
lost-
team they play.
They haven't won 29
doesn't
teams in a
matter,
row, and they
bro.
come in
Georgia
and they
has
smack
not
the
lost
Georgia
for 2
Bulldogs.
years, and
They smack the
Alabama,
Bulldogs.
I know the final score was 27-24, but it really wasn't that close. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they scored a touchdown at the end when the game
And
was
let's
over.
not forget, you guys obviously watched the game. The first drive from Georgia, Georgia looked absolutely unstoppable.
I didn't watch.
They ran down Bama's throat and they carved them up.
Yeah.
And I was watching that game and I was like, dude, I don't know. I think Bama might be in trouble. And then Jalen Milroe proved why. He's that guy. He's him.
I think Alabama's had too many heart attack games. They almost lost to Auburn.
But
That's a rivalry game, though. That's a
but they're
rivalry
more
game.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it
But-
does.
But the fact
Yes,
that
it
Alabama
does.
has played in these
As a
close
Steelers
games,
fan, you should know that besides
Exactly.
anything. Rivalry games are always going to be close, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you good.
AFC North,
Well, we're
every
Steelers
game.
fans. Every game is
No,
close
it
when it
doesn't
shouldn't
matter.
be.
Even when the Ravens are the best team in the league, the Steelers always give them a fight. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
If Bama versus Auburn, it's the Iron
You
Bowl. It's
can't-
always going to be
rivalry
close.
games,
It's always going to be
Did
close.
you see the stat that Alabama versus Auburn in Bama? Alabama's like 6-0 and wins by like 20 points. But in Auburn, it's always close. And the other thing too is playing in those close games. It means you're more battle tested. It means you're more prepared for these situations. Whereas a team like Michigan, like, do they even play close games? Like, they won.
No, they have actually. Michigan has actually been very good at covering their spread
Yeah,
and
so, like-
beating the teams they should beat by
So when
by a good
Alabama,
margin.
when the game starts and maybe Michigan jumps out to a 7 or 10-0 lead, Alabama's going to be able to have that perseverance and that mental toughness.
agree.
Whereas Michigan, if they're losing 10-0, maybe losing 7-0, if they haven't been in that situation too much this year, they might not know how to respond.
And I think Bama does have a chip on their shoulder. They missed the college football playoffs last
Yeah.
year. They were very
Yeah.
upset about that. They were on the cusp of getting in. TCU got in above Alabama. That was, again, a big controversy.
TCU.
So I think Bama has a chip on their
Yeah.
shoulder. Nick Saban is going to prove why Alabama is still and always will be the greatest college football dynasty of all time and why he's the greatest college football coach of all
This is
time.
the glazed
Yeah.
table.
Come on, man. I know you just not call us the
Yeah.
glaze table, bro.
glazing
Coach
over
said-
there.
Coach, who's Michigan's coach?
Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh. All bark, no bite. All bite, no bark. Or all bark, no bite.
No
Oh.
bite.
All right,
Well,
we're going to do the championship?
Yeah, I'll add this too.
What about Heisman?
Since we're getting into champions, I'm pretty sure we've only had 4 different champions, right? Ohio State,
So has
Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, right? Since 2014, or
So
has
has
there
a
been
Big
another
Ten
one?
team ever won other
Ohio
than
State
Ohio
won the
State?
first one. That was the first ever one.
Yeah.
It's been SEC.
Was that against Oregon?
Clemson.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
you might
That
be
was
cried.
Marcus
I
Mariota
cried.
versus
That was-
Cardale
that
Jones.
was-
Mariota.
I was the biggest Oregon fan ever at that time. I loved Marcus Mariota. I still love Marcus. And I cried after
Cried.
Ezekiel Elliott just decided to just ruin my dreams.
I cried
that year.
whenever Ohio State beat Alabama in the semifinal. I threw the remote at the TV.
I don't think anything will top though the Ohio State Georgia game last
Yeah,
year.
that was a good game.
That was very that whole first round was very
CJ
good.
Stroud at quarterback can't read.
But who wants to start to give their championship prediction? We'll start
Well, so are we going based off our
off of your
semifinalists?
prediction, and
Okay.
then
I'll go first. Who did I pick?
Alabama.
Texas and Alabama.
Yeah, Texas, Bama.
Why don't you guys go first? Actually,
you
I'll
gotta
go
think.
first.
let Archie go.
Okay, Alabama is winning. They just convinced me. That was good.
But you didn't take Alabama to make the championship. You
Yeah,
took
I did.
Michigan. You did? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you. Okay.
Yeah, she
okay.
took Alabama.
There we
She's
go.
wearing
Yeah.
blue, but she picked Michigan.
We're on
Yeah,
the-
I guess.
we're on the wave.
Yeah,
All right, I'll go with Bama too because
because obviously.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Got haters.
I'm from
We're
Pittsburgh.
not hating. Oh, there's no hating going on. I respect Michigan.
And we
I
got
respect Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think there was anything wrong with what Jim Harbaugh did, cheating
You
with
mean John?
John's the Ravens.
Jacob.
John's the Ravens.
Jim's the
Jim's
Wolverines.
Michigan.
bad.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what Coach Harbaugh did. You know, sign stealing is legal.
I think there is. I think there's something wrong with it.
Not using, I mean, sign stealing is legal no matter what's, in a lot of sports, unless you're using a device.
Yeah, the
to do
Astros
that.
use a
Which-
trash
I was about to say, what
which
about the Astros?
Well, they had
let's
a
debate
camera.
or not if Michigan did use devices to
No.
do that.
Watch Michigan get their
The
title.
only thing I
vacated in
do
like
think
5
acceptable
years.
is them sending players to our coaching staff to the other sidelines pretending to be them.
With fake
It's sketchy. It's sketchy. There's going to be a documentary about it. I'm going to watch it. But as of right now, Michigan is looking dominant. I don't even think they need to steal signs. But
You're picking Michigan.
no,
Oh, who
Michigan's
are
not
you
even.
saying then?
I don't even have Michigan
picked
to make. I was just
Alabama,
talking about
Washington.
yeah, Bama, Washington.
You want to give your prediction, Danny?
Listen, this is going to be Bama's closest game of the year. Michael Penix Jr. is going to, in my opinion, he will outplay Jalen Milroe in this game. Jalen Milroe has been
No way.
shaky at times. We saw Jalen Milroe he got benched earlier in the year. Let's not forget Jalen Milroe was benched earlier in the year, but after that he's played tremendous football. He's looked like one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think he should be in the Heisman conversation. Obviously, I don't think he's a Heisman, but he should be talked about just because he lost to Texas and was benched. That's why he's out.
Yeah.
I do think Alabama's going to win this game. It's going to be like a 10, 15 point win game. Give me Alabama, and I just don't think there's I don't think there's going to be a lot of stopping Alabama when it's championship time. And the last time they lost was to Georgia, and
We come to play
Yeah.
in the championship. When it comes to championships, Bama, we come to play.
Yeah, we do.
roll tide.
Damn right.
Okay,
Nathan?
I'll give mine. I have Michigan versus Texas. I brought up this is a scenario for both teams that they need to do this. Texas, the Big 12s, well, they're not going to be there in the SEC next year, so it doesn't get harder for them. They're going to have to play Alabama every year. They're going to have to play Oklahoma and all those guys every year, LSU every year, so their schedule's getting hard. Michigan has to win this because Big 10 is dying. Well, not dying, it's growing. They're adding all the top Pac-12 teams, so both these teams are in the situation. It's a must-win because it's going to get much harder in the future. Looking at both the rosters, I think Michigan has the better running back. Blake Corum's very good. He's already breaking records in Michigan. I think he's almost tied with the most rushing touchdowns in Michigan history. He's already being called an all-time great at Michigan because of that. I am taking the Wolverines. Go Blue. If we have any Michigan viewers up there, leave a comment below. But yeah,
or don't.
go Blue. I think Michigan wins this. I think they beat Texas. I as well think it's going to be a close game. I think Texas is very good. I think Texas of all the teams has the most chance to pull off something special and maybe win it all. I think they could shock the world. They have that shock factor because no one thought they were going to be this good or make it this far. I also think that makes the situation for Manning, especially if Texas wins, that Archie Manning might not have a good chance to get a good college starting job. It's kind of based off his name kind of right now, I think. But I am going to take Michigan winning it. If I was going to say a final score, 35-27.
So I do like your pick, even though I don't think Michigan will get in. I think if Michigan is to beat Alabama, I think they win the championship regardless of who they play. So I think a lot of fans are going to look at Alabama versus Michigan as the college football championship.
That's what they said
right?
Georgia Ohio State was.
Yeah.
That was the national championship. I think that's going to be this year. Whoever wins that game
Yeah.
probably beats Texas. I don't think Washington makes it. I
Even
think
if
it's
they do,
close.
it's
even
gonna be-
Washington maybe gives the most effort to win it, and if they make it. But I think Texas could shock a lot of people. But I am taking Michigan.
Wow.
I will be watching the games.
I will be watching every game.
Unlike the
Me too.
championships, I actually will be watching the.
Yes.
College football never disappoints.
Bro, maybe Arch Manning will come to Pitt. Hey, Arch. I know you're watching. Look, we got some bridges, right? We got the convention center. Like
You got bridges?
we got the point. Like we got some nice stuff. Like come bless us with your presence.
Do you guys want to talk Heisman now?
Yeah. I already got my pick.
Who's your pick?
Phil Jerkovich.
Strakovic.
Oh,
the
what?
way.
Did you, Phil? Oh yeah, that's your bestie, right? You go to high school with him. Danny actually went to high school with Phil. What's his name?
Phil Dracovic.
With Phil Jakovic. So
Yep.
he's winning the Heisman because Danny trained him, taught him everything he knows.
Everything.
So Phil Jerkovich for Heisman. Danny.
So the eye test for me goes Penix Jr., but so I have a statistic on my phone that I think I have to pull up for why I'm going with this decision. So Jalen Daniels, I think, is the pick, right? Just because of, you look at his passing yards, he has almost 4,000 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, and he has, I think, over 800 some rushing yards, which is insane to me. He is almost on par with running backs in college football, top running backs. So I think his versatility makes him the Heisman frontrunner. Bo Nix was, I think, the Heisman frontrunner. He lost, even though Daniels has lost. I think you got to give it to him. They're so ranked. I think Bo Nix losing that game, he lost to Washington twice. His Heisman moment would have been beating Washington. If he would have came back, then that would have been like, Bo Nix is like the Heisman.
Yeah.
But he's not, obviously, can't win the big game.
Yeah.
You're not the Heisman. You can't win the big game, you're not the Heisman. So,
I think if he would have won that game, he would have won the Heisman.
for sure. For sure.
Archie, you want to go?
No.
Okay. I as well am going to pick Daniels out of LSU. Didn't he have a 300 game?
Yes.
His 300 passing yards, 300. I think Lamar was the last quarterback to do that in college. I think it was
300 passing yards, 300 what?
rushing yards. He had
One
both.
game?
Yeah,
Oh,
in
that's
one
crazy.
game. Yeah, it was a high-scoring event, you could say. Even though LSU didn't make the college football playoff, they did have a kind of a subpar year, but he still killed it.
Yeah.
I'll take him to win it. But there's a second guy in the running. Keep an eye on Marvin Harrison. College football loves him. From Ohio State. They love their receivers. Receivers have been winning those awards lately. A couple of them in the last couple of years. Marvin Harrison's up there. I could see, honestly, them giving some votes to Jordan Travis of FSU. The guy, like I said in the last thing, if a quarterback is that impactful to take him out of the playoffs, he should get some Heisman votes. And I can honestly see McCarthy or Corum out of Michigan getting some votes.
the MVP, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it's how impactful
That's the
someone is.
NFL, though. That's completely different.
Okay, but if
league,
Mahomes is going, if
We're talking about
Mahomes
NFL
has
guys,
an
bro.
undefeated season, he gets hurt, and then they're terrible. You can't give him MVP just because they went undefeated for half the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's the NFL. You're comparing the
doesn't
NFL
matter.
and college
I
football.
just don't think. I don't think you can. I don't think you can
the-
put that in the debate. It's
the
a player
talent-
debate. It's not a team debate.
The talent gap is too wide.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, that was the last topic. You can go check that out if you want. But I will take Daniels out of LSU. I think it's gonna be close, but I think he won that award when he had that 300 game.
I agree. That's his Heisman moment for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
They're ranked 13 now. LSU. They are going to get a good bowl game. We're not sure if Jalen Daniels will play in that game or not, but if he does, expect a pretty entertaining game out of him. I think they're playing maybe like Wisconsin. I forget who it is. I can check.
Yeah, look at Archie. Give your pick while he's looking it up.
Yeah, they play Wisconsin.
I'm gonna go with Kenny Pickett.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yep.
Let's go, Kenny.
He's winning it all.
Get well, Kenny. We need you.
Prayers up for KP.
That team's something else.
Archie, this is your last.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Archie's last episode ever on the Big Hit.
Everyone, come down
Guys,
here.
come down here. Come bless Archie. Come on. Come on, everyone.
No.
Yes,
No one wants to
yes.
come
Come on, this is Archie's last time. We all got to crowd around her
Yeah.
and give her a hug.
Yeah,
There we
Carson,
go.
get
There
in
we
it.
go.
here.
Let's go, guys.
I only was here for Carson every time.
Archie, don't cry.
Carson makes my day better every day.
Where's everybody at? Where'd everybody
Yeah,
go?
where's everyone at?
It's just you up there, Carson.
Where's like Alan and Peyton and Brendan?
Go, Breitland.
Brendan, come on.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
No.
Just give her like a little high five. It's her last show
Me and Marla
ever.
don't touch each
Give her
other.
some applause.
You guys are no
Yeah.
fun, bro.
Let's give her some applause.
Shout out Archie.
Shout out Archie. We
Shout out
appreciate
the
it.
big hit.
Makes
on,
everything
everybody,
work
come on,
behind the
Yes,
scenes, basically.
Archie
The
is the
big hit
reason
will-
why our camera angles
Yep.
change most days.
The big hit will
Yeah.
never be the same. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on.
Everyone, say bye.
Yeah, everyone in the shop. We have to say bye to everyone. This is the last episode of the semester.
This is also the last episode of the semester,
Yeah.
so we could have some new faces.
Yeah,
next
we all have to
semester.
wave goodbye to the cameras.
This is Archie's last episode, and it's Nate's birthday.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Nathan's birthday as well, so happy birthday to Nathan.
Big 22. Yeah.
Alright.
What
Archie,
an
send us
episode.
off.
Any final words, Archie?
Send us off.
Alright.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. They'll be back. I won't be.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll see you in the spring for some more awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll know who
Not
won the
me.
college football playoff by then too. So
There we go.
but yeah.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Com K.
Go Blue.
Communications.
Orange
News
down.
Media K.
Thank you all for watching. It's been fun. We'll be back in January for some more stuff. We'll see you later. Have a good winter.
Yeah.